I remember listening to a preacher once who was telling very graphically how Jesus on the way to Gethsemane was walking past a vineyard, and he started explaining the theme of the vineyard to his disciples, saying to them that you need to remain in me. And then he came to that amazing statement where Jesus says to them, apart from me, you can do nothing. And I so remember the illustration he used. He said, actually, it's a bit like taking an exam and you work really hard, you answer what you think are the questions, and yet in the end, you score nothing. Don't even get a point for putting your name right on the top of the paper. And that was such a hit home moment for me. Outside of me, apart from me, you can do nothing. You do all sorts of things. You can write an exam paper, you can live your life, but what it all adds up to is nothing if you've done it outside of me. And that makes me think of a psalm, Psalm 127, psalm I really love. But it really talks again about just the vanity of doing things outside of God. And the reminder that really, if we abide in Christ and we follow God's heart, there's such a promise of fruitfulness. But the contrast is that if we're not doing that, it's not just a little bit of fruit, it's actually nothing. It counts for nothing. So what does it say in Psalm 127? Well, it says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. They've achieved nothing. It's not what God wanted. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the guards stand watch in vain. They won't go see what they're meant to see. In vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves. You see, there is a heart that God has for us that is so full of blessing and so encouraging. He wants us to live fruitful lives. He wants us to build in a way that actually works for the kingdom. He wants us to really watch in a way that actually is effective in protecting the city because he's watching with us. But what a statement, isn't it? That outside of him, it all amounts to nothing. I understand much more of God's heart when I come to terms with that verse. His heart for me to actually be fruitful and be effective, to build that will last. But it all has to happen because I'm doing it in him.